I think young women's magazines are increasingly going to play an important part in imparting design information. I think the home interest magazines that currently exist don't do that to the satisfaction of young women in this country. I think I'm very lucky. I've always been very single-minded, but I've always known that I want to get into publishing. I've always known that I want to work on a magazine. So I've done things like work for design consultancies to find my foothold, to earn some money, and then go on to what I really want to do. I'd been freelance for about 18 months, 2 years. I'd been working for other women's magazines, the Sunday supplements, the newspapers, and at that time, Cosmopolitan didn't really have a regular commitment to design. They'd done things as and when they came up. But I think Linda Kelsey, the editor, had realised that young women want to know about design. A very high proportion of our readers have their own homes, usually their first homes, and they want advice and tips on how to make them look good, you know, how their home can reflect their personality, just the way their clothes should reflect their personality. I think they're increasingly beginning to feel that homes should do the same. I'm telling my reader that they don't have to be incredibly wealthy or incredibly au fait, incredibly sophisticated to be able to decorate a room with style. They need, above all else, ideas, and I hope that my pages do that. I hope it provides ideas. And yes, of course, it tells them where to go and get wall brackets or an iron hat stand, if that's the sort of thing they're looking for. But more than anything else, it tells them it tells them about ideas.
He was recommended by a tremendously talented person who'd been our fashion editor. And of course you look at people who know people you've worked with. He'd done quite a bit of styling. He came in. I think it's a combination of chemistry and talent.
There are 3 or 4 main components to the work I do. One is obviously being in the office, researching ideas for stories, putting stories together. So once we decide on a theme for an issue, then it's up to me to go out and look for the right objects that explain this, to liaise with painters and photographers. That might be a box. I don't know. See how it works.
He's got a detached eye. He doesn't always do what he wants to do, but I think he understands the cosmopolitan market very well, and he, I think, knows how to translate for it.
Yeah, I think we can shoot it. I think shooting, particularly shooting original photography, perhaps in a studio, is at least half the job. The primary aim of anybody who's involved in design or the visual arts, if you like, with magazines, is to provide pretty pictures, you know. I mean, one has to be sort of fairly pragmatic about it. It's a way to get beautiful images into magazines. To shoot 3 or 4 pages in the magazine, the planning probably takes at least a week. And that doesn't include the time you spend writing copy to go with the pictures afterwards. To put a feature together takes about 2 weeks. I'm working at least 3 or 4 months ahead. Georgina suggested I call you. I asked her about some houses, and she said you had a really nice place, and I wondered whether we could come and have a look at it. When we're looking around for houses that we might photograph, the thing that sort of initially makes my ears prick up is it an accessible size? Is it a flat or a small house? I'm not really going to go out and look at palaces or grand country houses. The second thing is it likely to have the owner's personality imprinted on it? If they're working with a decorator, are they inputting a lot of their own ideas? Do they have pieces of furniture or old curtains or objects which they particularly want to keep and work around? That kind of thing. I don't think there is such a thing as a perfect house. And I think people are very put off by the idea that this has to be your dream home. Homes are not for dreaming in, homes are for living in. And I mean, I don't live in anything like a perfect home. And I think people on the whole really want, more than anything else, ideas as to how to make things look attractive, how to make them comfortable, how to make them cosy, so that when you come in after a hard day's work, you can flop down and you don't have to worry about the fact that, you know, green clashes with yellow or whatever. You know, they want things that they can feel. Lovely, Nicholas.
Thank you.
It's great. Where's all this furniture from?
That comes from my grandparents.
It's nice that it's really very busy, and it's got lots of nice things that you've obviously collected in it.
Yeah, well, I like to use all that.
Yeah, it's not a museum cabinet or anything like that. It's actually in use. It's great. Beautiful. How have you done the curtains? Because they're really nice and filmy, aren't they?
Yeah, well, those is just lining fabric, really. And, I mean, the idea was I didn't want to have mesh curtains, so it was to have still daylight coming through and not being seen by people outside.
Yeah.
That's why there's all that greenery out there.
This is wonderful. I love this. It's really smart.
I mean, actually, the whole room was built around these. This was the first acquisition from the room. And then decided the color and everything was actually chosen from that.
Yes, great. Was the fireplace original?
No, it wasn't. I mean, there was a fireplace there. And this was just, it had actually a library piece on top and just chopped it off to have to the size of that and then marbleized it.
Looking around the house, the first thing that strikes me is that it has an unbelievable sense of personality. Obviously, it's owned by somebody who loves to collect, who has a lot of very beautiful things, but things that he uses, things that aren't there just on display because they're valuable or inherited and therefore have to be put on show. I think it's actually very charming, very cozy, but at the same time deeply stylish, and it's ideal, really, as a house that we'd feature.
Is this light inside? I want to know, because some of this furniture looks a bit heavy, or is it?
It is heavy, yes.
And is it expensive? I mean, could we recreate? If a reader's looking at this, can she think, I can do this?
Yes, I mean, a lot of this is junk shop furniture.
Oh, good.
I mean, that's a really old, battered armchair.
It looks like a good-looking young man to me, actually, not an old battered armchair.
It's always good to have a pretty man in there somewhere, isn't it?
Yeah. No, I like his.
And these are just old 70s style, you know, calico covered sofas.
We're back to 70s, are we? This is a terribly pretty room. I'd love to see that done.
Nicholas's house has this wonderful kind of warm honey glow going through the house. I think we're going to call it a taste of honey for that reason.
I think we've got a young talent in the making that's going to go somewhere. He's terribly mature, he's terribly controlled and poised, very unusual in somebody that young and that enthusiastic about colour and style. He's in control. I like that enormously. He never runs riot.
I think I'm going to hang around in women's magazines simply because of the variety. It's nice to be involved with people who are working on other things, on features, on fashion. There are so many things that go into a women's magazine. It's lovely to have all these people around who are interested in different things. I think it gives me a wider perspective. As far as the future goes, there are so many exciting things happening at Cosmopolitan. There are lots of things to explore in the job. The pages aren't exactly as I'd like them yet. You know, there are lots of things that could be improved. We may get more pages, we may decide we need a slightly different slant on the design pages. I think there are lots of ideas to be worked through.